I'm here with Dave Nestor. Dave Nestor is this guy.
Hello.
Dave Nestor does what?
Drum tech for Disturbed currently.
Nice. You and any other bands?
Yeah, I have my own band called Enemy, and then I have drum tech for System of a Down and a few others.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've worked for quite a few bands over the years. You just you got to keep working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you from?
Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you a drummer? You are a drummer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just said that. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
What got you into this field, this industry?
This field? Well, it kind of is a weird story. I'll do the short version. I quit playing music when I was like 21.
Okay.
I met my future ex-wife, thought it was the way to go, quit playing music because it wasn't a real career. It was kind of shunned from where I grew up. And then eventually when that marriage started to end, I got falling in love with music again. But I lost my chops, lost my network. I had no idea how to get back into it. So a couple friends were like, you should try being a drum tech because you know drums. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started reaching back out to my small network, and All That Remains was looking for a drum tech, and I just so happened to be available. And that's kind of how it took off in 2015.
How'd you get networked with them?
So I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I have a lot of hardcore friends from the Cincinnati, Dayton area. So Aaron Patrick, his nickname is Bubble. He was actually playing bass for All That Remains at the time and tour managing them. He's the guitar player from Bury Your Dead. Like the hardcore scene is pretty heavy down there. And he just called me. He's like, would you actually be interested in touring? I heard you might. And I said, yeah. Wow. So the rest is history. So it was really cool. So they're the first band I got to work with.
Yeah, and I've asked, that's one of my first questions, like, how do you get in the industry and what did you do? It's everyone says network, but it's like people watching saying, what does that mean, network?
Right.
Like, how does that actually practically apply? And
right.
What do you do? And so that's cool to hear, man.
Yeah, it actually worked out. So I was happy to get back into the industry, and I worked my way through playing in local bands as well and going on and off tour playing in bands, and it's been cool to be the player and the tech. So anything involved with drums, sign me up.
Do you think you need to be a drummer to be a drum tech?
You don't need to be, but I think it helps.
Okay.
You can ask Mike even, the drummer for Disturbed. He says that it's a very helpful thing to have somebody who knows how to play and knows like feel, because then I know I'm not going to set it up and do him wrong, you know. And I know I have my own preference with tuning, and like we can talk things out because he knows that I play like even actively now. So.
Oh, so that's cool. So he kind of takes your input with it as well.
Yes. Yeah. He takes my suggestions on tuning, different heads, like different techniques, different cymbals.
I was going to ask, like, how much of that is, can you tune it to what you like as opposed to tune what they like? And I'm assuming most of the time it's you got to do what they...
Normally do what they like, but I actually work with Brad, our front of house, and Ashton when he's here, or Blair when Blair's filling in or whatever. We all work together to make sure it sounds good out there and in the ears. So acoustically, it doesn't necessarily always translate to good out front. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a weird mix, but anytime Brad's happy, I'm happy. And Mike says as long as Brad's happy and it feels good, he doesn't care.
So what separates the C-list drum techs to the A-list?
Being able to handle situations in a rush, or like when things hit the fan, it's a good idea to be able to stay calm and fix it. Like no question, just fix it. Don't get mad at yourself. Like if a cymbal breaks, a pedal breaks, anything, you know what I mean? You just got to be there and be on top of it. And obviously being on time, showing up, and just working really hard. But I think the calmness is something that a lot of newer techs don't have, because you get nervous, obviously, when you're in a new gig, or like when you first reach the arena or stadium level, it's kind of like scary, you know. Yeah. But it shouldn't be. You've earned it. You've worked your way there, you know.
I love that. So, most common mistake you see new drum techs making?
Like over-tuning, thinking about it too much. Like the overthinking, I guess, should be what I say. So overthinking everything, like thinking the drummer is worried about the littlest things, because normally they're not. Some drummers are picky, but most of them are not.
Trick to getting a good sounding snare drum.
Ooh. Buying a good sounding snare. No, I mean, honestly, there's a preference when it comes to tuning. And a lot of people have like a tighter head preference, but I think the bottom head is ignored a lot of the time, and it shouldn't be. You should start there and then work your way to the top. You can do the star pattern for your tuning or a tune bot, but I do everything by ear.
Perfect size kick drum.
I would say 20 by 18.
Okay. Perfect size snare.
14 by 6.5.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about maybe this. So I know you don't have a ton of time, but
interview.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, Zach, go ahead.
Hey, what's your 20, brother?
I'm on stage with This DeLaCruz doing an interview.
The joys about doing this on set is that everything always changes
Yeah.
all the time. I picked the worst place to do these is on location.
Yeah, but it's also good because you guys get to see us move both drum kits. So right now, we're moving the sickness kit, which we'll go over here in a second. What that is, we're going to move it off deck this way. Then we're going to move the greatest hits kit that's on that side of the stage over this way. And we're going to be back behind this trussing right behind me. And we're going to hang a big truss with the backdrops for the two openers right here. So all the gear is going to be behind those two trusses, or that one truss with their two backdrops. And then we'll be able to still have this interview, but we'll just have to get out of everyone's way.
So 2 drum sets. Explain this drum set and why is there 2?
Okay. So this is actually the original kit that Mike toured with back 25 years ago to support the Sickness album. He didn't record on it. It was just for supporting the tour. So this is actually a Pearl Masters Custom Extra Maple. So it's got the maple re-rings inside of it. Sounds gorgeous. Watch your elbow. Don't want you to get hit here. It's a really, really good sounding kit. We brought it out of retirement for this tour specifically. I got you, Nick. Cool. So yeah, this kit is really cool. It's like a midnight fade, so it's purple to black, which is really cool. It sounds great, looks great. We got the old school big toms, which we really like for this old school music. You know, it actually fits really well with Down with the Sickness. When he plays the second rack tom and first floor for Down with the Sickness, it's such a big ripper of a song, and they just sound huge. You know what I mean? In an arena like this, it's awesome. So I really like this kit. We set up this rack with the old school straight bars from Pearl. With the old school straight bars for everything, for the cymbal stands and stuff. And then that greatest hits kit is the more new curved style rack system that Pearl makes with the curved style bars up here for the arms, for the cymbals, and for the overhead. So
We're gonna go over there?
yeah, we can go over there. So we get like a completely different feel between the kits, not only the wood being different and the kit series being different, but just the aesthetic overall. So this one is old school with the rack, with the shells, with everything. And this is new school with the rack, with the shells, with everything. So the only similarity I would say is that we use the exact same cymbal setup because he has his preference. So it's always going to be the 5 crashes, 2 chinas, 2 hi-hats, and 1 ride. All Sabian.
And where do you hang out during the...
I'm always off deck.
Okay.
So a lot of people are like, why? Because
Yeah.
normally drum techs are like right behind the drummer.
Yeah.
We have a good system. If he needs something, he'll let me know. He's so on hands compared to a lot of drummers. Like, if something happens, he does not care that much if he has to fix it, if it's going to be faster than me running all the way on stage. Because of our pyro and the way that their stage is pretty empty for the most part, it would be very obvious for me to be on and off stage so much. So we've just had it that way since I started working for them back in 23.
Wow. So walk me through cymbals, sticks, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay. So Mike is a Vader guy, and he has these signature sticks. They might be hard to see, but I'll bring them in the light here for you. So they're his own signature size. And I would say they're very similar to the Power 5Bs by Vader, but a little bit more thickness, especially because they have this coating epoxy on it. You can feel it. It's a little bit more grippy than a lot of sticks.
Yeah.
And he also uses nylon tips. For a while, I didn't like the way these felt, so I used his old sticks, which are basically the same, just without the epoxy. So the same length, same with the nylon tips and stuff, but I've learned to use these because they actually are better for front of house if I'm using the same sticks, and I try to hit everything the exact same way he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very important. People don't talk about that. If you're going to sound check for the band, you need to try to play like the band, you know? As far as cymbals go, he's all Sabian. So we've got rock crashes going 18s on each side right here, and then we have 3 19s. We have an AAX heavy metal crash, then we have 2 AA rock crashes here and here. We have a 19-inch Holy China on the left, a 19-inch AAX Extreme Chinese, and then we have the AAX metal hats, yep, there, and then the AA metal hats over here, which are the old ones. You can see the lines. They have a completely different feel than the newer series, but that's the same for both kits.
Heads?
And then, well, the 23-inch...
Oh, sorry, keep going.
You're okay. The 23-inch DeGrasso ride with the Mega Bell is one of our favorites. It's discontinued for some reason. So Mike, when they discontinued it, Mike tried to make sure he got as many as he could. So we have like 3 or 4 extra in the warehouse just in case. But even Brad, you can ask, our front of house, says that's the best sounding ride he's ever heard. So it's really, really cool. As far as drum heads, right now we're using EC2s on both kits, but this is an all maple kit, and that's a Masters kit. Or not a Masters, this is a Masters. That's a different kit with different wood we'll talk about later. So EC2s on top, G1s on bottom for all of the toms. We're using the EMAD 2 for both kicks. And we have the hydraulic by Evans for the top. It's like a matte black. and then we're using the Evans snare side 500 for the bottom of the snare. And the snare is different, so that's still a pearl drum, but it's the Kapoor fiberglass snares. They discontinued a while ago, so once again, Mike likes something discontinued, so he made sure he got the last 8 that Pearl had in production. So we have 8 of those. So we have 2 per kit, 1 as a backup, 1 as a main, and then 2 more, or 4 more back, like at the warehouse and his house. So yeah, and he uses all Pearl everything, so he's got the Demon Drive pedals, Demon Drive hi-hats, and then all Pearl hardware.
Wow.
Yep, and then obviously you see the throne, Porter and Davies. That's kind of the standard nowadays for a butt thumper. Really, really good thrones. And that's it. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, pretty easy. So this kit is a little bit different. We'll go over that one quickly. The cymbals are the same, but the shells are different. So that's
Okay.
a Pearl reference Music City custom kit. So if we do get a chance to actually go over here and look at it, just watch your step, fellas. You can't tell probably, but maybe with the lighting you can. But the top 3 toms, you can see that there's a different color of wood. Ah, they turned the lights off on us. Where's my flashlight? Can you see it? Okay, cool. So you can see for these 2 top toms, there's a cool wood mix they do in these reference series drums. I don't know if you've ever messed with any reference series kits or anything, but they always have done this cool wood mix. So you start out with like a birch maple for more attack for the smaller toms, and then you go 10, 12, 14, then you go maple mahogany, and then it mixes mahogany all the way down to full mahogany for the kicks with a little bit of maple, like maybe 1 or 2 ply. So it's really cool, and inside each drum, it actually lists all the different plies, which you can't see from here. But you can see that it's Pearl Reference Music City Custom USA made, and then it has all the different woods that are in there and how many plies of each, and then it has a signature and a date when it was made. So really, really cool and kind of custom, you know. Same snare, but this one has Cerakoted hardware, which was part of our last kit, but he just really liked it. In my opinion, it actually changes the tone of the drum. Exact same heads on both, exact same way I tune, exact same everything on the inside, but they sound completely different.
Wow.
And all the difference is just the Cerakoted hardware. So
So you
yeah.
said one of the things that is overlooked is playing like your drummer. How would you describe his playing?
You might be able to see the angle in both of these kits, but the angle of the snare is super tilted. Same with the toms. So his playing and his feet are really wide apart. So he sits really wide apart, and this is as low as these thrones will go. So he sits super low, super wide leg, and super tilted. So just that alone as a drummer, you were a drummer, right?
I've drummed, yeah.
Yeah. So you probably understand that just hearing that super wide feet, not easy to play.
No.
Super low, so he's almost punching down when he's hitting the snare, but it works for him.
Yeah.
And he's got iconic beats. He's a great drummer. But just the way he plays, I've had to learn. So my kit at home, it's like almost a flat snare. My seat's like 4 or 5 inches higher, you know what I mean? My cymbals are much lower. My toms are a lot flatter. So you have to learn to adapt because the band doesn't come in for sound check right now. They do for like rehearsal and stuff, but they need us to be there and play like they play. It's something that was a learning curve for sure.
Does this whole drum set roll?
No.
And you set it up every.
I set up both these every day.
Do you have taped something to, or do you just have it memorized with the angles?
No, you can
for
see
it?
some of the tape. On this one, it's mostly black. But even on here, you can see the mic stand is marked. We had 2 different markings for the throne feet. All the pedals have markings, the hi-hat pedal, the bass drum pedals, even
Well,
the
in
bass
terms
drums.
of the angles of the drums, how do you?
Oh, that's all memory locked. When I take apart this entire rack, all of the tom arms are locked that way. And I have markings with Sharpie if something gets bumped in transit, and then I can bring it back and lock it back into place.
That's got to be tough to play somebody else's drums because I'd want to like adjust it for myself and kind of tweak it as I go.
I have, like, when him and I really started to get along, I mess with him, and like he would come up when they would do rehearsal or whatever, and I would completely change it, and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" Just to mess with him. So we'd tilt it back, but it's just how it is, man. Any drummer I've worked for, you want them to be comfortable, so you will learn to adapt for them, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So maybe that's another thing for newer drum techs. You know, adjusting how you play and feel for the drummer you work for, because it's for them.
Yeah.
You know, you're there to make sure the gig happens and the drummer's comfortable and happy.
Favorite song in this tour?
Probably Dropping Plates. In the first set, it's surprisingly, I mean, I'm not going to knock their original record because it's an iconic record, but the drums are not as forward as I would like as a drummer, because I want to hear the drums up front, and their newer records are a lot more up front. Dropping Plates is a really, really heavy song, and The drums, when you hear it live, next level. Next level compared to the record. If you guys want to move this way to get out of our carpenter friends way real quick, you can keep asking me stuff over here, but we'll be out of their way. So yeah, this kit is really cool, and you can kind of see how tilted the tom arms are. But all of these, this is a memory lock, this is a memory lock, this is locked here, that's locked there. I mean, all of that stays that way, even though this whole rack comes apart except for the two sides. All of it is memory locked. So as long as it doesn't go through too much bouncing and moving in the cases, you should be okay.
What's a trick to keep drums tuned in different climate conditions?
I would say rock locks are great. That's something Anthony Gazelle owns. He's now the drummer for Daughtry, good friend, and he came up with those. But tension keepers do a really good job. But to be honest with you, with temperature changes, whether it's too cold or too hot, you just have to retune it. Yeah, that's just something you have to do. And it's something that you can't get away from because you want it to always sound good. So every day I always check them. I get lucky sometimes if the temperature stays the same, especially with die-cast hoops because they're pretty rigid. I get pretty lucky. But almost every day you still want to tweak it just because you want to make sure that it sounds good out front for the crowd.
Who is one artist you would pay to go on tour and tech for?
That's a really good question. Pay to go tech for?
Yep.
I don't know if I'd pay to tech for...
Or do it for free.
Just anybody. Do it for free? Man, that's a rough one. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Chris Coleman. He's such a killer drummer. But Todd Zuckerman of Styx, that would be a fun gig. And he's a ripper on the drums. So I would do that for free for one gig. 100%. And he's with Sonar now, too. His new kit looks gorgeous.
That's awesome.
He's such a ripper of a drummer. But I don't know, man. There's too many good drummers out there to say one specific. But I enjoy what I do, so I'm happy to be here, whether it's playing or teching.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, man, I know you got a lot of stuff to get to. If people want to follow you and follow your career, where can they follow you at?
David Nestor Drums on all social media. So Instagram, Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. And then besides that, my band Enemy, ENMY. The guys in the band really like what we're doing and they support us. But until we get to a certain level, we obviously can't just open for anybody. They've tried to have us be on shows with them, but sometimes management bookings say no. And it is what it is. We're working our way through. So yeah, man, appreciate that.
Well, man, thank you so much for your time. I'll put all those links below. Yeah, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
This guy. I got to figure out, like,
Thanks,
commit
Nick,
to one
I
of these.
appreciate it. You're all good. Thank you so much.